are now tuned into the best damn recap show of the United Football League. It is right here on United Football Media. Tell me about it, back and better than ever. And that's what the UFL football quality was this weekend, back and better than ever. We had 3 games, 1 score, down to the wire, big time stuff, including our kickoff. You know, obviously, I think it was clear that a lot of people on this show, we were very excited about the prospect of the Houston Roughnecks rising up. We had called it the biggest game in the history of the Houston Roughnecks program going on this weekend, and it was. And it started off glorious. Houston jumps out to a huge 3-score lead, and then Birmingham shows that championship pedigree is not quite faded out yet. Their defense completely shuts down the Roughnecks in the second half. The Stallions come all the way back to win 33-25. Jalen McClendon looked excellent in the beginning of the game. Didn't have many incompletions at all. Was making great back shoulder throws. But man, in that second half, Birmingham's defense was all over him. The Roughnecks offense could not get anything done. All they needed was a couple of field goals in this, and a couple, like maybe 2 sustained drives, and the Stallions would have had no chance. But they could not do that. Case Cookus with a decent game, 17-34, 199 yards, a touchdown. Jamar Smith gets pulled up out of the mists of Stallions history itself to come in and lead the game, scoring drives in the end of the game. It was incredible. Huge comeback. Stallions show the dynasty ain't over yet. It might be on life support, but it ain't over yet. Huge comeback. Stallions win 33-25. Roughnecks still not out of it mathematically. If this would have, like we were excited about, is it would have been a tie for the playoff spot had they won. Means they're not out of it, but man, with 3 games left, things are getting tight. Thoughts on this one, True?
Man, I'll say this. Roughnecks almost fooled me. They almost fooled me.
They had us all fooled. We were excited, having a great time at halftime.
Yeah, man. I was like really, really believing the hype. I saw the score, and I'm looking at the score, and I'm like, are they about to do it? They about to do it. And then they didn't do it.
Yeah, they didn't do it. Yeah.
So it's like once it all kind of, once I saw that Stallions defense lock in a little bit more, it kind of, I was like, okay. And I mean, that's just the thing about football, man. Like nowadays, it can change quick. It can change, but you could be up 2-3 scores, and like I just feel like back in the day, a 2 or 3 score lead at any given point in time in the game, it almost felt insurmountable. And in this day and age, it's like, nah,
they were mounted. They were surmounted.
Yeah, yes. So, I said Roughnecks almost fooled me, almost got me. He almost got me good. I was like, man, they might be legit. And the Stallions just turned on the Jets, and then it's really nothing you can do when a team that has championship resolve and experience taps into certain things. And I think you'll see that more as the season continues to continue. Well, the season continues and we get close to the end. The Stallions might want to, like you said, it ain't over, but it's on life support. So you're going to need to push, for sure push, as best as you can to make a strong run at the end, because it was not looking good for a while, and it's still not really looking like that great. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
you were down multiple scores, so
But hey, maybe that this comeback is what they needed to kick them back into gear, get that championship confidence back rolling, the standard of what they feel they should expect from themselves. Maybe that's what was renewed here. Tay, what were your thoughts on the game, man?
The Roughnecks, they started the game off hot. They looked like the better team in the first half, but this has been a theme just for the league. Like a lot of teams go up in the first half and they don't do anything in the second half. They don't score more points. They let the foot off the gas, and you can't do that. Like you see time and time again, all these teams come back down down 15 plus. Like we see it every week, and this was that game. The Roughnecks didn't even play bad. I mean, they were rolling in the first half, but playing against a championship team, and that it showed. Like they didn't quit. They could have quit. They could have came out. They were down by double digits. They could have came out and just up.
One thing I do want to bring up in what you're talking about there, man, when the Roughnecks allowed that touchdown with like a minute left in the first half, I said, they need to not do that.
Yeah, because
you're right. That little man named Quit. The quit button was lighting up for Stallions, and then they let them have that little injection of life right there at the end of the first half, and there we go.
You got to hold on to leads. That's how you get in the playoffs. That's how you beat good teams. Like especially with the Stallions. They're a good team. It doesn't look as good as last year, but I mean, it shows. That they're comeback victory, and the Roughnecks, I guess, just didn't take them serious in the second half. I thought 25 was enough, but it wasn't. It gave up 15 in the fourth quarter alone. So, the Roughnecks, they didn't play a bad game, but they did not play good enough to beat the Stallions. You can't blow a lead like that with playoffs on the line. You got to hold on to the lead.
Next up, close game. The fourth quarter exploded with points. It was an amazing fourth quarter of football. The Panthers overcoming the Renegades 25-24. Bryce Perkins, another week of highlights. He had over 300 yards of total offense, rushing and passing, 2 touchdowns total, multiple incredible plays down the stretch. He's like we've said, he's an NFL quarterback moonlighting as a UFL quarterback. Renegades did all they could. Our man Luis Perez, of course, as per usual, out there cooking. 74% completion, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did everything that he could. But Bryce Perkins and the Panthers are just a team on a mission. It's tough, man, when they're not beating themselves, when they got things locked in. It's tough to come up against. An emergence too. TJ Vaughn's old quality television wide receiver for the Renegades emerges in this game. 9 catches for 127 and a touchdown. Future star. Hopefully he locks in for the rest of the year. Keeps giving them that. On the Panthers side, Sayalsi Mariner 5 for 86. Malik Turner 4 for 49 and a touchdown. Made a good play on special teams as well. The Panthers, man. I think they got to stay at number 1 at the top of the power rankings. Bryce Perkins, enjoy him while we got him, because to me, he's more dominant. He's more fun. He's more incredible to watch than even Adrian Martinez was last year. Bryce Perkins is out of control right now. Takes on this one there, True.
The more things change, the more they stay the same, right? I mean, what did we say last year about the Renegades and how they lost games, right? Came down to the wire.
Yep.
That happens again. And I will say they do look like a slightly better team than they were last year. Some vast improvements. Obviously, they won some games, so that helps. But you hate to lose like that, because I thought they had it. I really thought. I mean, we're talking 1 second to go, like basically, and right down there at the goal. Like, I mean, I'm like, all you got to do one stop and get you what you need.
Yeah, incredible finish. Literally, he runs the ball, hurdles somebody, gets tackled. I thought it was funny that there was any discourse about how much time. I thought there was like pretty clearly 2 seconds left, and 1 second when the timeout got called. But it was just me. He hurdles somebody at the goal line. There's 1 second left. They call a timeout. They call their last play, frankly, what I thought was an insane thing to call, because they ran it right into the teeth of defense from the goal line with 1 second left. No misdirect. It was an option, so they had to respect the backside corner. But, it wasn't like a play action with receivers, a run pass option. It was just straight up read it and either go into the teeth of the defense or try to take the corner. But it worked out. I could not believe. I could not believe that that's what they went for. But they did, and they got it done. Insane.
It was a risky play, and it was unbelievable to me that they did it that way, and it was more unbelievable that the Renegades couldn't stop it. I think that
Yeah,
was why I was like,
because the Renegades, sneaky, low key, by the overall metric statistics, is one of the best defenses in the league, and could not get the stop on the one.
yeah, this is disappointing for the Renegades because I thought they played a pretty decent game. Thought it was, pretty good game, but when it comes down to that wire, you got to be able to make some plays that'll hold on to that lead. But the Panthers, man, the Panthers keep finding ways to win, and that's the mark of usually what a champion will have.
Yeah,
And so we'll see how it goes this year. This playoffs when we get down to that wire and see how it goes. But they're looking good, and a win is a win. It don't have to be pretty. It don't have to be a blowout. You got to win by 2 scores. You can win by 1 point. You can win by a field goal. You can win by a touchdown. You can, as long as you get the W, that's what matters because it's football. One win is all you need. Like you just keep going to the next one. So they did that. So
just to
kudos to
point
the
out,
Panthers.
just to point out how diabolical the result of that Roughneck Stallions situation was. Is even with how much we like the Panthers and how shaky the Stallions have looked, the Stallions are in first place in the USFL right now. If they would have lost that game, they would have been tied at 2-3. But instead, they come back, they win, and now they're in first place above the Panthers, who everybody loves, because by way of they beat them earlier on the season, earlier on the year when the Panthers were trying to set a record for most wasted opportunities in a football season. Stallions got that win over them, and they're in first place right now. Pretty wild stuff. When at what was it? 2:00 Eastern time today, it looked like they were about to be in a tie for being out of the playoffs. Now they're in first place because the Roughnecks could not hold on to that lead. Tay, I almost said the F word just now. Tay, what do you think? What'd you think of this wild Arlington Panthers tilt?
So I'll say this about the Renegades. The Renegades are throwing their season away. I mean, they lost 3 in a row. Like 3 in a row with a 10-game schedule, probably not gonna make the playoffs. They were 3-1 at early on in the season. They were beating good teams, and then I don't know what happened. They keep blowing leads. They keep losing, these quick games, like these games they're up on. Like, and the Panthers wanted it more. When the Renegades needed the defense to get a stop, Panthers scored, and then there was another chance. And then for the 2, they also gave up the conversion to win the game. So there it is. I feel like that was the game the Renegades needed, and that would have gave them a lot of confidence. It could have broke their losing streak, beating the Panthers, who are the best team in the UFL right now. But it's not looking good. 3 in a row, 4 in a row, it might be, like that. I don't know. Renegades look good from the start, but I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about them. I don't know why they blow so many leads. They never seems like they never truly win those close games. But shout out to Bryce Perkins, man. He's been playing great football all year long. Seems like the MVP is his. Yeah, Panthers are the team to beat right now. They're red hot. Nobody can beat them right now. They got the best quarterback, and I feel like that's been the key to success. It was the same thing last year with Martinez. So I feel like you got the best quarterback, probably going to have the best team. So the Panthers, I don't know why the Panthers were even benching Bryce Perkins in the first place. So, yeah, the Panthers are the team to beat right now.
Speaking of best quarterback, and do you guys know, and this should show, man, that we here on the show, I evaluate things as they happen. And it's the state of Missouri with me. You got to show me. And I'm here to tell you that on Friday night, Jordan Tiamu played possibly the best game of quarterback that we've seen in this league so far this year. Because if it ain't for him putting this team on his back on Friday, first and foremost, and I'll go on a longer, more extensive rant on this when me and Tay do the DC Defender show later on this week. I do not know why. I do not know why the Brahmas seem to have the defender's number. I don't know why. Everybody else, it's pants around the ankles, belt to ass, with the Brahmas, but with the damn defenders, somehow it's a struggle every single time. And it was definitely that on Friday night in a huge prove-it game for the defenders. They come out doing all kinds of JoJo stuff. Stuff is not the word I was using on Friday. San Antonio did. I told you guys about old Kevin Hogan, brother. He looked good the first week despite not having any good protection, and he wrecked shop this week against a team that's supposed to have one of the best defenses in the league, the defenders. 20 for 30, 230, and 2 touchdowns. Kevin Hogan looked every bit the stud, veteran quarterback on Friday night. But the guy on the other side was just a bit better, and not just a bit. He was a lot better. Jordan Tiamu, 79%, 3 touchdowns, almost 300 yards, added another 10 yards rushing when it was needed. Just a masterclass by Tiamu. Kept us in the game. A couple of wild, there was a wild play in the second half where it looked like the Brahmas were kind of starting to tilt this thing and maybe run away with it a little bit. There's this wild play at the end of the second half where Hogan slams off of his own offensive lineman and fumbles it. Defenders take it back to the house. Things turn around there. But really and truly, if it's not for a masterclass of a game from Jordan Tiamu in this game, we don't win this. Not we. This isn't the DC Defenders show. The defenders don't win this game if not for a masterclass from Jordan Tiamu, especially in the second half. He was dealing all over the place. Great passes, making great decisions, running this offense to a T. Look, man, I know Perkins has the highlights and we talk about it every week. If Tiamu keeps playing like this, might be some decision making here at the end of the year, because he was excellent on Friday night. Excellent. True thoughts on that one, man.
Somehow, some way, the DC Defenders just keep managing to get it done. And I'm so it baffles me how they keep pulling this off. But also baffles me how bad the Brahmas have been in essence, because a loss is still a loss, no matter if you play well in that loss or not. And the Brahmas, super disappointing this year. And but the defenders, man, you couldn't ask for a crazier win. Because it didn't look good. Like you said, it didn't look good for them, and then they made it happen. And the Brahmas looked like they could go toe to toe. And I think the Brahmas feel like the Renegades of this season, basically. You know what I mean? Like, that's who they feel like now. It's like you can go toe to toe with certain teams, you can push certain teams to the limit, you just can't get it done. You just can't get over the hump. And I think for the defenders mostly look like the best team that's in the entire league right now. And they are cooking. And I don't want to give Tiamu too much credit, but he looked good. He looked good, and that's what we were talking about, I think, the other week, where it was like we don't know which version of him is going to show up. Sometimes you get this amazing version, sometimes you get this other version where it's like, no. But the good version showed up, and they got a W. And I'm finding it very hard to look at these teams, and we're talking about heading to playoff time, and we're getting close to the end of that season. I'm finding it very hard to bet against them going forward, because, like I said, it doesn't matter how pretty it is, as long as you get a W, you get one.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
We're about to talk about that, especially with the next game, old battlehawks, because they just ugly their way to a win every damn week. But Tay, what's funny is I talked about it on DC Defender Show. I said this. That's another thing about this game I did not understand. I said this is one of the worst pass protection units in the league for the Brahmas, and we're supposed to have the best pass rush in the league on the defenders. They should eat, and then they didn't until they did. It's like I don't know what is going on here. That in the fourth quarter, last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, the last 2 possessions that the Brahmas had, the pass rush was just absolutely destroying everything that they were trying to do almost instantly. And I said, where the hell was this the whole game? Where was this? Roberson, Fisher, Joe Wallace, the names we've come to know over the season, all of them got hits, got sacks, all of that in the last 2 possessions of the fourth quarter. I don't know what was happening for the rest of it, but yeah, It's always mysterious. Some sort of weird voodoo whenever we play these damn Brahmas.
Yeah, I mean, the Brahmas, like their only win was against the defenders. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's that right there. So you kind of felt a close game coming, and it sure was. Jordan Teamu played one of his best games of the year, and he is making his case. I don't think he's the leader of MVP, but he's making his case though, because he started off because I feel like that counts too. Bryce Perkins didn't start off like sloppy. Well, they were trying to take him out and whatnot, but I think the beginning of the season is hurting Teamu's case. But I mean, he's turned it up the past couple of weeks. His completion percentage has been up. He's been scoring touchdowns. He's been running the ball a little bit. So, the defenders. I mean, a win is a win. Again, giving up another 100-yard rusher, that's going to be a problem.
100 yards forward. On 9 carries.
Exactly.
Not great. Not great.
You got to keep that under control. I would say the defenders are pretty much locked into the playoffs. You got to keep that under control. Like you can't have that happen against the worst team in the league. That's not good. They should not run all over you like that on very efficient, So that's my thing about the defenders. It's a tale of two halves for the defenders. It's been like that the whole year. So, a win is a win.
Last game of the weekend, like you said, like True was talking about, winning ugly is still a win. Well, thank goodness for the Battlehawks, because they would have lost 3 straight, but instead they've won 3 straight extremely ugly games. Max Duggan again leads them in rushing, low passing yardage. The boats, Dresser Wynn had a pretty decent game, 200 yards, 60% completion, and touchdown. But they just could not finish off drives with the points that they needed. There was an extremely bizarre, I didn't know what they were doing at the end. They're down by 10 with under 3 minutes left, and they're just kind of running the offense like it's not. They're snapping the ball with like 5 seconds left in the play clock and stuff. In the end of the game, down 2 scores. I'm like, what are you doing? I posted it in the group chat. I'm like, it was like that Beetlejuice clip. What are you doing? Oh, me? Just hanging around. It's kind of what they were doing. Like, I don't know what the hell the lack of urgency was with the crew over there down in Memphis with the boats. But yeah, Battlehawks come out with the ugly win, 19-9. Defense, I mean, obviously their defense, another strong game for them. And their record-wise, they have the same record as the DC Defenders. DC Defenders are in first place in the standings on the XFL side, but that's because they've beat the Battlehawks. So you got to give it where it is. And hey, if they go into the playoffs and play each other, that's one game. And as we've seen from the Defenders, they can come out and take a big old horse dump in the middle of the field whenever you least expect it. They are completely capable of that. So, hey, Battlehawks got this defense. They do just enough. The gap isn't huge. It's not like it's nothing to worry about, even though they are winning ugly as hell every week. Thoughts on this Battlehawks Memphis situation? 19-9, Battlehawks win.
Well, I mean, you know who the Battlehawks played, so you know how I feel about this. I feel great, actually. I feel great about the result. I feel great about everything. I could not be more ecstatic at the fact that the Showboats lose again. Not a great, honestly, not a great showing, I'd say, in terms of offense for Battlehawks to me. Very much defensive performance and getting it done on defense. But once again, I could take my shots at Memphis, but at this point, it's like just beating a dead horse. It's a damn shame at this point. Showboats just can't get it done. They stink, and they've been left cheek or right cheek, and the Roughnecks moved out of right cheek territory, so Showboats are still left cheek.
Okay, I'm glad you're warming up, because you got to hit your line here when we get to next week's games.
Yeah, so brahmas have been right cheek this year with the Showboat. The Showboats stink. They're not gonna. There's nothing to see here for the Showboats. I think we all. There's nothing to see here. We all know what this is gonna be. It's gonna be like this every season. That might be time to think about moving the team elsewhere or something. Maybe I don't know if it's just something is really wrong with the Showboats not doing anything. But the Battlehawks, once again, the Battlehawks is the same thing as like the Defenders and really the Stallions today. It's just earlier. It's just like you know how to get a win. You know how to get it done. These are teams that do know what they're doing. The Battlehawks can get a win. It don't have to be pretty. And I don't think this was a pretty win at all. And I don't think we've had a lot of pretty wins in the UFL at all this season. To be really honest, not a lot of pretty ones this year. Not a lot of easy coasting victories. So Battlehawks got it done. But I mean, did you expect anything else? You know what I mean? Like, did you expect anything else to happen? I didn't. So, Showboats suck. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, the Battlehawks have been playing like struggle ball all year. They don't look good. You know, the record's fine.
Well, since Duggan came in, for sure, they looked pretty good when
they
did.
They did.
Since Duggan came in, it's been nasty business.
Yeah. I mean, like they're getting their wins, you know, but it hasn't looked the best. Like, you know, they went up early, they held the lead, but you know, that could have went like the Renegades game. You know, you could blow leads like that. You have to maintain points, you know, and defense throughout the game. It's not, you know, it's not the most probable to score, you know, all your points in the first, second half and then just coast and play defense. Because I don't think 19 points isn't going to win you every game. Yeah, they were playing the Showboat, so they were probably practicing, you know, plays and stuff like that. But I don't know. They can't be happy like with the past couple of weeks. They've been winning, they've been getting by, but there's no way they're confident going into the playoffs.
You know what, though? They have a great run blocking offensive line. They've definitely been behind the running game with Duggan leading the way. Kind of switched the way that they run the offense. It's a pure like read option running game.
Mm-hmm.
And what have we already just discussed? It's 2 weeks in a row that the Defenders' run defense has been on the side of a milk carton, nowhere to be found, MIA. So while we say it's ugly, the way it's getting done is kind of conducive to them being highly competitive with the other top team in the conference. So concerns there. Next week, Friday night. Drew, what do we got?
I'd rather you announce it first. I don't want to lead this one off. I don't want to lead this off.
What we got is left cheek, right cheek, the cheek bowl. Old Memphis against San Antonio.
Can I choose none?
San Antonio.
Can I pick neither team? Let's pick neither team. That's just terrible. I really can't pick a winner.
To me, I don't think so. The only thing I was going to say is unless San Antonio has given up, and I don't think Peyton Pardee is going to stand for that, and I'm excited to see what he does with the team going forward. To me, San Antonio has looked like the better team so far this year. There's been fits and starts and some exciting stuff with Memphis, but to me, San Antonio seems like they have the higher ceiling. So I'm going to go with San Antonio. What do you think there, Tay?
Yeah, I got the Brahmas. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick, but Kevin Hogan has been playing all right.
Yeah,
so that's the leading, you know, factor for me. I don't know. I think the Showboys want to be 1-9. I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna go with the Brahmas. I'll give the Brahmas their second win of the season. You know, congratulations to them. But yeah, it's just been rough for both these teams. So yeah, I'll go with the Brahmas at home.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, I'll go with the Brahmas.
There we go.
That's the only way I'm picking. I don't want to pick the Showboat, so I'm just like, if I had to pick, I'll pick nobody. But rock, paper, scissors. I just selected the Brahmas, and I think the game will be terrible. I don't expect it to be very, very fun to watch.
Sometimes those are the fun games, though.
I may get a nap in while the game's going on.
So
Honestly,
the
might get a
next
nap
game,
in and keep the TV on.
Saturday, I thought I was reading this wrong, but maybe not. It looks like the two games are happening at the same time. It's like a regional coverage situation. What the hell are we doing here? It's week 8. What are you? What? Whatever. We'll do that in a little off-season review episode. I think maybe cover that shenanigan, because how can you let this happen at this point in the season? Whatever. Birmingham at St. Louis, as well as the other game that'll be happening at that time. But Birmingham at St. Louis. Oh boy. You know, I'm going to go with Birmingham may have righted the ship and gotten it together, and this crusty performances that St. Louis keep putting on, not going to be enough against Birmingham if Birmingham's acting right. So I'm going to go with Birmingham on the road at St. Louis at the Dome. What do you think they're true?
I'm gonna go Battlehawks.
Okay.
It's tough. It's tough though. It's very tough. But the Stallions just made a huge comeback on the Roughnecks, and I felt fooled by the Roughnecks. So, and granted, like I said, the Battlehawks didn't really beat. I mean, Battlehawks. I don't want to make any comparisons. I was about to make a very bad comparison to who the Battlehawks beat, but I won't do that. I won't do that. I just will say the Battlehawks didn't have an impressive showing, but maybe they'll get up more for the Stallions because it's the Stallions. You want to prove a point. You've been narrowly escaping some of these games. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm gonna go with Battlehawks. I just feel like their defense. I feel stronger about their defense than I do for the Stallions because the Stallions let the Roughnecks have their way with them for a while.
Yeah, sure.
Honestly, so it's a close one though. It's a very close one. It's a game I think will probably be the game of possibly the game of the week. Should be. So yeah, I'll go Battlehawks maybe by like 3 points at best 7. Very close game.
Tay, what do you got? Tell me about it.
I think this is gonna be a struggle game. Like,
Yeah, I was
you
thinking
know,
the same thing. This is going to be like a
yeah,
rock fight. This is going to be the
yeah,
darkest thing a person can do at 1:00 on a Saturday. Nice weather. Sit
yeah.
around and
So
watch what's about to happen here.
yeah, I think the Battlehawks will pull it off. They've been good in those struggle games. Hopefully they can run the ball. That's their bread and butter. It wasn't all too successful, in the previous week, but I mean, playoff implications are still alive. I mean, they're both 5-2, looking good for the last 3 games of the season. But you really want this one too. 6-2 looks really good. Like
Yep.
you can go 6-2 and then lose out. You might get in still. So probably will get in. So it's like you need this one. 6-2 looks good. So I think the Battlehawks, they're at home. They got a nice home crowd. So I'll go with the Battlehawks.
Simultaneously, apparently, somehow in week 8, Michigan will be at Houston. I don't know how much there's to say here. Michigan should rock and roll on these guys. That might have been the last little bit of heart that the Roughnecks had getting ripped out of them. And Michigan is tearing through everybody. At least their quarterback is big time. Michigan big. What do you think? They're true.
Michigan all day.
Yep.
Definitely Michigan all day. Just much more poised, lot stronger to me as a team. So going with Michigan. Not even a second thought about that. Michigan, the Panthers just look like honestly, they just look amazing right now, and how they're moving, executing. Even though they came down to the wire, in the game this week, it's just they're doing all the right things to me. So for sure.
All right, I got to go with the Panthers here. The Roughnecks, they had a good run. They're playing like solid. They're not playing like the old Roughnecks where they were scoring like 8 points and they just looked like they didn't belong. So I feel like they'll make it interesting. Just like they did last week. They lost the game for themselves. But the Panthers, they're like looking at the the standings and stuff. There's 4, 5, and 2 teams. You don't want to blow this. I'd say this is an easier game. You don't want to blow an easier game and then get behind in the standings. You want to stay, tied for first. You want to go 6-2 because we know either the Stallions and the Battlehawks have to lose. So that's the team right there that's going to drop. So you want to stay afloat and take care of business. So yeah, I got the Panthers.
Last game of the week, an important one for both teams because Arlington's kind of fighting to survive, keep pace, and DC would love to get this win and get some separation between them and Arlington in the overall standings. Because right now it's not a huge amount of separation. So big implications Sunday at noon. Renegades at DC. Tell you which version of DC is showing up? The version that takes things seriously and whips these other teams that are good, or the team that likes to screw around and lose or almost lose games that they should not lose. I got a feeling this is going to be, the absolute, this is going to be the last stand for Arlington and they're a very talented team. This is a dangerous situation on Sunday for the DC Defenders.
Which version Defenders will get? We'll get the version that starts off slow and then tries to come back in the in the second half. That's the team to do it against. The Renegades. I think they like blowing leads. If you watch them, you'd think that's the game plan. So they'll do it again this week. They'll have a lead early. They did. They blew a lead last time they played the Defenders. So it'll be the same thing. No, they'll blow another lead. That's their game plan for the season. So they're blowing their season right now. So I mean, I can't see them pulling it off. So I'm gonna go with the Defenders.
True. What do you got, man? DC, Arlington.
I could see this coming down to a Tiamu last drive, and considering the Renegades' luck, that'll result in a touchdown. So I'm gonna go with the Defenders, just because the Renegades do not have the best luck right now, or really this season or last season. So
ever, yeah,
yeah. And so it just feels like the Defenders just know how to get it done. They just been knowing how to get it done. They've been winning at a high level, and like I said, they need that separation. So for sure, need that separation. So definitely, I'll go with I'll go to Defenders. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me though if the Renegades somehow, like in a weird serendipitous way, fall into like a win just by like a last second. Like it could be like a 20-20 game, and then somehow they just like random 25-yard touchdown at the end or something like something like that happened. I could see that because at some point your bad luck does turn around, and as someone who personally knows that very well, your bad luck can turn around. So maybe that's it. But so
you're good.
Go with the Defenders, but yeah, my phone. Yeah, got a call coming in. So yeah, Defenders by one score at best. At best. It could be a field goal. It could come down to a field goal. So we'll go with that.
Well, the United Football Media is ahead of other Spring Football League media conglomerates by much more than one score. We are blowing them out of the water because this is the number one place for the United Football League. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting week on the rest of the shows going on around here. Of course, me and Tay, DC Defender Show, we will break down what happened in detail this last weekend. Brahma Bullpen, man, what are the thoughts on the continuation of the season? What are the goals coming out of this? I'd love to hear from them. And of course, FBI Tugboat, the PAWD podcast, gonna be fired up. This looks like it could be a magical season for the Panthers. All that and so much more. Of course, we are the DAR Sports Crew. If you want more of our stuff, look up DAR Sports Media up in the search bar in YouTube. Throw us a sub over on our page. Just be advised, there's some cussing that goes on over there. It is not censored like it is over here on the United Football Media, this family-friendly professional outfit. We ain't like that over there. We'll be doing NBA playoffs next week. Right now, we're doing the NFL offseason grades for each division, picking which divisions we like best. We can do all kinds of stuff over on that page. So check us out after you check out all the fine content here on the United Football Media, including us here. This is called Tell Me About It.